All right, our headliner this evening is Mark Dolfini. Mark is a veteran of the United States Marine Corps and author of 2 real estate books. The first one was published in 2017, and his second book was released earlier this summer. His much-anticipated third book is coming out this fall. He received a Bachelor of Science in Accounting at Purdue University and worked for Marriott International before venturing out full-time in the world of real estate investing. He's the managing broker for a property management company based out of Lafayette, the founder of Landlord Coach, and sits on numerous boards, including the Better Business Bureau of Central Indiana, the National Federation of Independent Businesses, and he's an area director for Central Indiana BNI. BNI is a networking organization. He spends his free time pistol shooting and kayaking and lives in Lafayette, where he and his wife Jennifer are raising their 2 sons, Leland and Logan. Let's give Mark a warm Sparks welcome.
So, the year was 1997. I was a sergeant of Marines. I was attached to a flight crew. I was a celestial navigator on a C-130. I had flown 2,000 hours, a little bit over, in that airplane at that point in time. And I had just flown my last mission. I remember very distinctly, as if it was happening yesterday, taking my headset off for the last time, using my call sign saying, "This is Flipper, signing off." I had a good tour in the Marines. I visited 20 or so different countries, dozens of different cities, most of which liked Americans, some not so much. But I knew that chapter was closing. That chapter was ending for me. And that next chapter was me leaving to get an education, to go to Purdue. So there I was, this New Yorker, now becoming a Hoosier. And I got to tell you, Indiana, we need to do a little bit better with the onboarding process. Because what we do to pizza is cruel and unusual. And I think it's actually considered a capital crime in Italy, right? But we do have biscuits and gravy, and Dave Letterman, right? And Red Skelton. So there's that. But when I came here, I came here to get my education, and I had this secret love. Even though I was getting this education, I was pursuing a degree in accounting, I had this love of entrepreneurship, of doing my own thing. And that came through and manifested itself in real estate. 4 years later, I was not quite 28 years old. I had a degree in accounting and about $500,000 in real estate, about 12 rental units. And that's when things started to get interesting. So let's fast forward 14 years. It's 2011. And I'm sitting on top of this smoldering heap, looking around at the wreckage that was my life. And at its peak, I had $6 million worth of real estate that I hustled, wheeled and dealed, and got all the way up to 92 rental units. Had $60,000 a month in revenues coming in. $60,000 a month coming in. Most of it was gone. My house, my car. It was a disaster. My professional career, I had walked away from being an assistant controller, and I also walked away from a career in banking. I had a really good relationship with my dad. Now that was estranged. I had a relationship with a woman that had been circling the bowl for a while, and now that was done. And my health suddenly became an issue. I was always extremely healthy, and I found myself in the hospital, and I almost died from double pneumonia. So I had a good friend at that moment in time and wanted to help me capture this essence of what I was. And I think she did a really good job of a photo of me there. I think it's a really good likeness. My life was an absolute mess, and I was a dumpster fire. I owed money to literally everybody. I often kidded as I was laying in this hospital bed trying to get better, that it would have been easier for me to get all the people that I didn't owe money into a room than all the people I did owe. Because I was just so flat on my back, literally flat on my back in a hospital bed, trying to get through all this. The level of destruction that went on in my life, the meteoric rise and the glorious fall, could only have been caused by hubris. And there was no guarantee that I would get out of this. There was no guarantee that I could even keep what was left of what I had. I didn't know if it was the beginning of the end or the end of the beginning. But I knew enough to know that a new chapter was starting in my life, whether I was ready for it or not. And it was really time to get incredibly deliberate about what I was about to do next. Just like when I was in the Marines, getting ready to leave to go to Purdue. I also needed to forget about what everybody thought about me and not worry and value so much about their opinion of me. So I prayed. And I got this clear voice. I was saying, God, how do I get out of this? And this voice, I swear to you, as clear as you're hearing me now, said, would you like an answer? And I said, God, yes. I said, what's the answer? How do I get out of this? He said, there's no shortage in life of not looking like a dumbass. And that's pretty true. And I said, okay, God, noted. Can I ask you another question? God said, sure. I said, is it true that you can go blind if you masturbate too much? God said, no. I said, thank God. God said, you're welcome. But you should definitely cut back. That's not the embarrassing thing. What's embarrassing is I learned later that my friend had reprogrammed Alexa to answer to "Hey God," and that was too much. So anyway, the truth is we all have these Hindenburg moments, these Jerry Maguire moments in our life. I don't care if you're an entrepreneur or a parent or you race ostriches. There's going to be a part of the learning curve where you trip and fall, and that's okay. That's okay. Because at that point in time, I realized that I have a story to tell, that I could teach and coach and write and mentor and lead others because they needed it. As long as I could get past that need for approval and not worry about everybody else. So now it was 2018, this year. And I look back and I think about that young Marine taking his headset off for the last time. And there was so much I could think about that, where I could think about that guy, and I'm so impressed with him because I knew I would be able to tell him all the things he's getting ready to look like a dumbass. But he also knew exactly where he wanted to go. He knew the trajectory in which he was going. He was incredibly deliberate. He knew where he was going. He was heading to Purdue to get an education, and somehow I forgot that. I had the option to walk away from everything when I was in the middle of the debacle that I was in. No one that knew me would have faulted me. There's not one person that knew what I was going through that would have said, Mark, I don't blame you. I couldn't pay my water and electric bill in the same month. Now, as a 4-year degree professional, that's pretty humbling. That was bad. So my lesson that I take away from all this is that you need to be incredibly deliberate and have a vision for your future that is obvious. I've published 2 books. I'm getting ready to publish a 3rd. I've been able to help hundreds of people with my message and my story. My health has recovered, probably a little bit too well, but I'm healthy now. I'm married with 2 amazing boys that still think I'm pretty cool, although that ship's about to sail. They're getting ready to turn teenagers. I reestablished a relationship with my dad years before he passed away, and he passed away last year, but you know what? I wouldn't say one thing to him if he were here today because I left it all on the table. And I'm so impressed. I'm so amazed by that. So lucky. But any lesson that I could tell you to get back from the brink is to have ferocity of purpose and be incredibly deliberate. Have a solid vision of your future and never, ever miss an opportunity to look like a dumbass. Thank you.
Don't delay. Get your ticket for the next Sparks event today.